Jack Buckley, you've just signed a new 3-year contract with the club, the longest contract you've ever signed. How exciting is it?
Yeah, I'm over the moon about it. Just to be in a position to sign a 3-year deal is massive for me and my family. So, and also just being able to stay at this club and play here for the next 3 years and hopefully more beyond that. So just grateful to be able to sort of give back to the club.
Might go forward. Tell us how you originally got into footy, because you've obviously got some pretty strong bloodlines there, but grew up in Sydney and sort of worked your way through the Sydney Swans pathway.
Yeah, grew up in Sydney, went to high school up here, so I was in the Swans Academy for a little while and wasn't a great junior player, so I'd never make the academy teams or anything, and so I thought I wasn't really enjoying it, so I thought if I'm no good and I'm not enjoying it, I'll just sort of give it a flick for a while. So I left there when I was around 16 and just went back to playing local footy around under-19s at UNSW. Started to enjoy my footy again post high school, and then played a year in the seniors. And then Brett Hander used to work here, gave me a chance as a top up in the reserves, 2017, and then all sort of started from there.
So even when you arrived at the Giants, it took you a couple of years to break through. 2021 was probably the year for you, really cemented a spot in the best 22. Then unfortunately hurt your ACL. What was that period like? It must have been the highest of the highs and then obviously the lows at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. It was the highs and lows all in one really, because I spent sort of 3 years trying to crack the side and get some consistent AFL footy in, and then finally getting that was just a dream come true. And then I found out the other side of footy pretty quickly when I did my knee, and then you're sort of back in the shadows a bit, just sort of working away, and you can't sort of contribute on field, and it's pretty hard sometimes because all you want to do is get out there and help the team and just sort of do what you love, and not being able to do that was pretty hard. But I was very lucky. I had a lot of people around the club and my family who held me together and was able to keep me ready for when I got back out there this year.
Unfortunately, it wasn't the typical ACL recovery. It probably took the best part of 18 months to get back. Your return game was round 1 this year. How hard was that period?
Yeah, it was. I was probably pretty naive at the start in terms of, it's sort of 9 to 12 months. I was like, all right, like this sucks, but I can get my head around it. Worst things can happen. And then I sort of figured out pretty quickly that it wasn't really traditional recovery in terms of sort of damage that was in there. So it ended up taking a while early, and then made a little bit of a breakthrough, and then had a setback, and then that just sort of became the theme of my rehab. You'd make a breakthrough and then you'd sort of get knocked back a few spaces, and then end up having another surgery along the way, which sort of knocked me back a little bit, and then sort of had to start again a couple of times, and eventually we just through trial and error and just the physios here, especially Matt Cameron, who I worked closely with over the last couple of years, was massive for me in just sort of getting outside opinions and just trying everything. And then eventually we started the breakthrough, and it all sort of came together in the end. But definitely a really hard sort of time of life for sure, but it sort of makes you, like, it's probably helped me in coming back this year in terms of just how grateful I am to be out there and how you sort of can't really take it for granted at all. And I've also learned a lot about just, resilience and how to sort of keep my body right to be out there this year too.
Round 1, you're a late inclusion for Lecalier. Played round 1, played every game since. Sam Taylor's gone out of the sides. You're now our number 1 defender. You're also the number 1 ranked key defender in the competition. Can you reflect on, I guess, how quickly things can change in footy as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much all about taking the opportunity when it comes. In round 1, I wasn't in the side, but I probably didn't deserve to be. I had a bit of an interrupted pre-season towards late, so the messaging was really clear, and I was sort of still happy with where I was at. I just needed to get some game time in, and then a door just opened up through Lec being, incredibly selfless and pulling himself out, and then I just got my opportunity, and I prepared for when I did get that opportunity. I was just going to try pick up where I left off and not give them an opportunity to leave me out of the side, so I could play a lot of footy again. And I was just grateful that was round 1, and it all happened really quickly. It was a whirlwind of a day. Still looking back on it, I'm sort of trying to piece it together that day, but And then from there, once I sort of played back-to-back games, like, all right, like, body's holding up, and then you play 3 and you're like, all right, I'm starting to get a bit of form going, and then it just sort of, all of a sudden you're back in the routine of playing week to week AFL footy, and it just starts to get back to all you're worrying about is just improving and helping the team win rather than, you know, I've got to get my knee right and my body right. You're just sort of back to being a AFL football, and that's all I wanted to get back to over the last couple of years.
Congratulations. We can't wait to see where the next 3 years take you.
No, thank you.